Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations 3X again. I'm Kamaljeet, and these conversations are presented by IE Horizons, Inner Expansive Horizons. And as always, these conversations are about empowering women, young women, and everyone. Wherever we are, there is always a point where we can reset and trust our inner self that yes, we can do it, we can make it. There are obstacles, but we can still overcome and move forward in our lives. So today we have Elizabeth Elliott. She has overcome brain cancer and going strong, and she's also pursuing naturopathy because of her experience and the mode of the treatment which she had adopted. So if you have listened to my videos before and you have liked them, please do like and subscribe and share with others. This will help us reach a better, bigger audience who needs the information just at the time. Hello, Lizzie. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Kamal. How are you?
Good, good. Welcome to Conversations 3X. I'm really happy to have you here because of a very strong, empowering story that you have, and still continuing, to work on yourself and supporting other people. So it will be lovely to hear about yourself. Tell me.
Okay, thank you for having me. So I was born in the UK and I grew up in Belize in Central America. And when I was about 21, 22, I moved to the UK. Lived there for a long time, over 20 years, 20, I can't remember now. And then we all came out to Australia. So now I live in Western Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. So how was it during your childhood? What kind of how was your health like when you were
I
growing
was
up?
I was a very robust, like healthy, robust kid, really. I would get into all kinds of scrapes and I have like broken bones and scars to to show for that. Um, I Up until I was 11, I was on this beautiful like island called Key Caulker, that was like white sand, soft sand. And it was just amazing, really, really amazing. It was like an idyllic childhood. So yeah, I mean, I was rough and tough, and I didn't have any issues with. I didn't have to worry about traffic. I didn't have to worry about a lot of the things that kids have to worry about now. Yeah, idyllic.
Yeah. And like education when you were small, learning and everything was going fine. I know that you did some health programs and you did your secretarial program before that.
Yeah,
So
I had to leave the island to go to high school in the city. And that was when there were, I mean, we had a couple options that we could have done, but I chose to do secretarial work, the secretarial option. So when I left high school and went to sixth form, I just continued with that. Left sixth form and then went to work. Initially, I didn't put this in the bio, but I went to work for a telephone company doing admin, and then briefly, I was there only briefly, and then went to work for Barclays Bank in Belize. After that, I stayed there for, I don't know, till 1990, 1991. I had to think then, so long ago. And then I moved to the UK because I mean, I was born there, so I had, like I had the British passport. When I was in the UK, I did lots of different jobs, and I always wanted to learn things, but I had an interest in art. So I did admin. I did a lot of places where I worked for as an admin support, sales, admin, mostly admin though. And then I decided I'd had enough of it. I wanted to go back to do what I love, which was like I always loved drawing and anything creative. So I went back to school and did that.
And you opened up a business also, right? Something to do with creative, I think props or some needlework or something like that.
So when I was when I was in the UK, I my mom is very, very good at sewing. I'm talking about using a sewing machine and sewing like clothes for people and stuff like that. But she's a teacher by like her profession was a teacher. So I have been around like that my whole life, right? So when I went to the UK, I was so interested in like arts and anything artistic, anything like crafty. I love that stuff. Um, when I came out here, I wanted to do something because I couldn't go back to a traditional job because my son was still young, and I ended up sewing. I ended up like doing that, and I made these dolls, these rag dolls, and that kind of progressed into all kinds of stuff. I just and then I created I had a business starting in the UK and then continuing out here. Um, when I came out here, I was doing different things, so I called it crafty concept. But when I was in the UK, I called it dolly mixtures because it was predominantly rag dolls. So yeah.
All right. So you continued with that, and how your health was okay at that time. Your son was small, and so you were taking care of him, and everything was okay. Um,
Um, when I when I was towards the end of my time in the UK, I was working part-time and I was doing this business as well. And I didn't know I was ill at the time, but I used to have these headaches and I used to go to work and I never used to miss a day and I always used to be there. And I just had these excruciating headaches. But like the way I grew up, like you'd fall over, you break something, you just get up, go, and then you get up and
yeah.
go for it, right? You don't really dwell on things. So I would never have even imagined what was wrong with me, like that in the way it happened. Um, so it was when I came out here. What I noticed was I kept doing what I was doing. I thought, well, I can continue with the ragdoll business because at least I get to stay with my son, right? And take him to school and stuff like that. He was about 9 years old when I was first diagnosed, but it had been my symptoms were there from way, way before we came out to Australia. Um, I would I can't even guess how long I must have had those headaches like years before I came out here. My eye would droop and everything, and I didn't even think anything. I went for an eye test before I came out here, and they didn't see anything. So I just I'm okay, and I just carried on.
What support you went for?
I went for an eye test because
Okay, eye test. Okay.
I went to see my doctor and she sent me for an eye test because she explained what was happening. I was getting this headache, but it wasn't like a normal headache. Like it would start in my ear and it would shoot right up to my eye, to right under my nose and down to my chin. So it was like basically half of my head
Okay.
that I had this headache, but it was a particular, very specific type of headache. So she wasn't sure what it was, and my nose would run as well. I would end up like with a runny nose. So she said, I'll send you for an eye test. Because that's an unusual symptom, right? That
Yeah.
headache. And and she said, we'll see what they say. So when I came out to Australia, I ended up they couldn't see anything. She sent me out here with a sinus nasal spray thingy to relieve the runny nose. Maybe that might have been causing the compression or whatever, but it wasn't that. I mean, I know now, I look back at it and I know now. When I came out here, it was 2016 when I was sleeping longer and longer. I would wake up, go take my son to school, and then come back home and go back to bed because I couldn't sleep during the night. I was awake like all night with this friggin' headache. Like the headache was just so bad. Um, anyway, did that for quite a few years, and then it got to a point where I was getting depressed as well. I guess lack of sleep, the headache. It wasn't pain that any painkiller could touch because it wasn't a normal headache. It was neuralgia. It was nerve pain where I know now that the brain tumor was actually sitting on my trigeminal nerve, which is why right? Three
Yeah.
places it was hurting.
So, did something else happen? Like, what was, how did they actually diagnose it? Like, was there an episode that triggered hospitalization, or the doctor felt more investigation is needed?
Yes, I actually got to that point where I said I was sleeping too much. I was in a lot of pain, and I thought I'm depressed, I'm sleep deprived, I'm um, in pain, and I haven't done anything about this. It's time to go see the doctor. So I went to see a doctor that was recommended to me, just a general practitioner. And I explained my symptoms, and he wrote down the name of what he thought it was, and he wrote it down. I'll never forget. And I loved his approach because he was very direct, and that's what I preferred. I don't want somebody trying to dance around what they're trying to tell me. Just tell me. So he was and he's like an excellent doctor. So he said, "This is what I think it is," and he wrote down trigeminal neuralgia. And then he said, I'm going to send you for a CT to confirm this diagnosis, right? But when I went for the CT, the girls that were doing the CAT scan were looking at me like I don't know, like I was from another planet. And they were saying, have you never had one of these done before? And I said, no, never. But they had seen the tumor on the CAT scan, and I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
So because of their reaction, they made me nervous. They made me really nervous. So I was supposed to be I think I was driving somewhere, but it was like an hour or so away from where I live. And I get a message to go see my doctor like right away. You need to come in and see me right away. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, driving, and I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. Um, anyway, ended up I drove to um I drove to like the nearest train station. And I just stopped there and I rang my husband and I said, I think they've seen something, or I don't know what it is, but I'm very nervous about it. I can't drive because I can't focus. I think I almost had an accident, and that's what made me stop because I was too engrossed in that. So he got the train. He was working in the city. He got the train to where I was, and he drove us back. We went for the appointment with the GP, and he sat down with us, and he was very, very sympathetic. And he said, I'm really sorry to have to tell you this, but they found like a mass in your brain. And you know, and I know people, he goes, I know a really good neurosurgeon that can deal with this. And I was like, but I was very when I got over, like, I didn't take it the way somebody would. I didn't cry, I didn't get upset. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know, what can I do? What what are the steps that are involved? What, you know, like I was very practical. So I didn't react in the usual way, maybe. I just wanted to know, okay, where do we go from here? What can I do? What, you know, like, what's the next step? Um, and he was being very, he was trying to let me down gently, I guess, tell me what was what. And I just said, okay, okay, and what's next? And, you know, like, it was that kind of conversation. Um, so after that, he wanted me to see, he wanted to make me to make an appointment with the neurosurgeon then, because he's very well connected, because he goes to these, like, I don't know if I should, I don't know, they have meetings, like all these health professionals have meetings where, you know, like they get to know each other. I mean, I think he knows my um uh oncologist and stuff like that. So, like, you know, neurosurgeon, oncologist, surgeons in different hospitals. So um, that's what happened. And then I had an appointment. But when I went in, that was another one. So we got our dog from way up north in our state. And our state is really, really big. I'm going somewhere with this, Kamal's on this. So
Which year was this, if I may ask 1 minute?
2016. So it was like March
Oh,
2016.
all right.
And we drive hours up to this place called Geraldton in our state. And to get this dog, right? To buy this dog, because we were looking for a dog.
Yeah.
And we end up going all the way up there. It was also around the time of my son's birthday. So he was having a birthday party as well. And, you know, all of this stuff I didn't want it to affect him. He was so young. He was really young. And I really didn't want it to affect him at all. So what he got told was very, very minimal. And we end up going up to Geraldton to get this dog. And I'm getting phone calls from the hospital saying, you've got to come in, you've got to come in. And I'm going, I can't, I'm on the road. I'm on the road, I can't. And then the next thing was, come on, you've got to come in. And I'm going to my son's birthday party. That was the other thing. I can't come in. You have to wait till afterwards. So I went, and I knew all of this stuff was happening, but I wanted my son to have one really, really good birthday, because I didn't know what was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And he was having this birthday party like by the water. So he had all his friends, by, you know, like by the water, and they did lots of activities and stuff. And I sat down with some of the mums that I knew, and I said to them, I don't know, it must have been like bugging me or something. I didn't want to say anything. And then I said, I've got to go into hospital after this. And they looked at me like I had two heads. And I was like, yeah. they think I have a brain tumor. Like, I don't know, I just kind of like came out with it and it was so like really like, oh, matter of fact. It was crazy,
Yeah.
crazy time.
I mean, and as a mother, of a
Mm.
young 9-year-old kid,
Yeah.
it's, internally it is heartbreaking, and to deal with it. And I believe your husband also works away from the city, and he has to go out for his trips or whatever, right?
He does now. He does what they call FIFO, which is fly in, fly out. But at the time, he was working in the city, so he had a job in the city, which was like it's about an hour away,
Okay.
maybe 45 minutes by train. So when it happened, he was still here, but we went private because we didn't want to wait too long because it turned out I had this tumor had been there so long I had like a grade 3 tumor.
Wow.
So it was like it had established itself. It had like vascular support and everything, so veins were going through it and stuff, or little spider ones, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I had to get it out, but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know any of this stuff. It was afterwards I found out. Um, but they're not allowed to classify things as a grade 4 because you're dead, right? If you're a grade 4 tumor, you're dead.
Okay.
You're that's it, you're done. Um, so anyway, so I ended up like negotiating with them about coming back to get admitted into hospital. Um, this was like no, a Saturday. And then I ended up, um, we went in on the Sunday. Nobody was around. The neurosurgeon wasn't around. And my husband goes, I'm taking her home because I would have just been lying in hospital for a night, um, while, just at their pleasure. And I thought, this is stressful enough as it is. So my husband goes, no, I'm taking her home. So I'd already been admitted and I had my little ID bracelet on and everything. And there we go, we drive home. I thought one more night in my own bed. And the following day I went back. Um, but the thing was, even that, because like I don't have my family over here, right? So I guess you understand that.
Yeah.
Um, so I was on my own and um, I'm very independent. I don't really have issues with any of that stuff. But my husband had to work. My son had to go to school the following day. It was like the Monday. I said, it's okay. I said, don't worry about it. I'll just jump on the train and I'll go. So
Mm.
I did that. I actually jumped on the train and went to the hospital,
Wow.
like
You were a
about
tough
half an
person,
hour.
very tough, mentally very tough.
I just, to be honest, I mean, I didn't really, I knew what was happening, but I don't know. I just get on with it, like this is what you have to do. So let's just do it. And I actually went to the hospital on my own. I think my husband was like really, I think they wanted to be with me. Brennan didn't know, my son didn't know what was going on. He just, it was a normal day for him. And we took, before he went to school, we took some photos because I wanted to have like I didn't know how the surgery was going to go or anything. So I wanted to have like a photo with him if anything happened to me during surgery.
Yeah.
Um, and I still have those on my phone. Anyway, that's my dog down here. The dog that we went to get.
Yeah, still, that's,
Yeah, he's right here being
yeah.
fluffy. Um, yeah, so anyway, ended up going to hospital. I get there, they give me a room and all that stuff. And I had to shave my head. I
Yeah.
had really, really long, thick long hair, and they had to shave my head, and I was like, oh my gosh. So that was probably more disturbing than anything. I wasn't even thinking about the
Yeah.
tumor. So my phone is going again, but anyway, um, it was um, it was a very, I'm gonna say, interesting time. It was just like a lot happened that year. I ended up, I came out of surgery. I was always like laughing and joking with the nurses and all like the people who were around me. Got on really well with them. And when I came out of surgery, I had lost a control over all of my left side
Oh,
because the tumor was on my right side in my frontal lobe, but it was in the area that controls your movement,
yeah.
and your right side controls your left side, and your left side controls like vice versa. So when I came around, I was lying on an air-filled mattress on my bed in the hospital, just to prevent like bed sores and stuff like that, because I couldn't move. Um, and then I had to learn to walk again because I didn't have any movement on that side. It was like slow going. I went through a lot of rehab, and there was different stages of it. Um, I have pictures. I said, I know that if people were to see me now, they wouldn't know what I've been through. So I actually documented a lot of it. I got I got them to take pictures.
So the medications they gave to you, like when they operated you, did they put you on any pre-medical, pre-surgery medication?
There wasn't any time to do that. It was after they gave me an anti-seizure medication. They started me on that as soon as I went to the hospital. But I was like, I'm gonna say I was a mess really, like physically, because I was doing all the wrong things at that time, which just exacerbated what was happening to me. So I had a bad diet when previously, when I lived in the UK, I didn't. But I came out here, and as the tumor progressed, my eating habits, my behavior, because it was in my frontal lobe, I was a different person. I was I was really a different person, personality wise. It had changed so much. Um, so I was doing all the wrong things, and I didn't even realize it. So yeah, I only got put on anti-seizure meds when I went into hospital.
Now, after surgery, they definitely gave you medication, and so you were hospitalized for a couple of months, or how was it?
It was I was probably that time is kind of hazy for me, but I remember being in hospital, like the first hospital for a while, and then across the road was the public hospital because I was in a private hospital when I had all this done. And then I went over to the other hospital for rehab. So I had my surgery and recovered from that in one hospital, and then went over to the other hospital for rehab to learn to like walk and stuff like that. Um, yeah, it was very interesting. The nurses at the private hospital got me as far as standing up, and I have a picture of two of them holding like my left leg up, and I have this walking stick, and them moving my leg to get my brain to remember how to walk, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so, who was taking care of your son back home? Like, was it only your husband or some other support you could get somebody to take care?
So he had he had a friend from school whose mum I was friends with, who was who was ill herself. She was ill as well, but I didn't really know when they became friends. Um, I was he would go there after school, and then Mark, my husband Mark, would end up picking him up and bringing him home after he'd been to see me, and then like came back. So they offered a lot of support at that time, and it was like what's the word I'm looking for? It was like a almost like a symbiotic relationship as well, because I didn't know exactly what was wrong with my friend. Um, but she had lupus, and she was very, very ill with it. And she ended up, when I went to do rehab at the other hospital, she was in the same hospital, but on a different floor, on a different ward. And unfortunately, she passed away. Um, so her son used to spend a lot of time with us here. Um, yeah, it was a really sad time. Really, really sad.
Yeah, and in the second hospital, how long did the rehab take place, and how far did it take you with their system?
Well, I continued with I mean, for me, every time I do physio, I put everything into it because it means that it supports my movement, my balance, my everything. And I spent, I didn't spend as long as I should have spent in there because my friend passed away and I wanted to attend her funeral. So I think after I left there, I don't know, I can't remember if I went back after the funeral, but I was I had some very interesting side effects after the surgery. I had to be in a quiet room because all my senses were heightened. So all the noises from the hospital, all the lights, the it was like all my senses. My sense of smell was even more acute. Um, So all the sounds used to it would make me cry because everything was so intense. I, I don't know how to explain. I was overwhelmed by sensations.
Yeah, processing the whole, it was a trauma actually. So processing
Yes,
that,
yeah,
uh, yeah,
yeah.
sorry you have gone through so much, and I think that's about the time. I think we got connected sometimes in 2018, right?
It was probably, well, I think my parents left in 2018, and I think it was probably around there, or because we were doing the same program, weren't we? And that's how I met you, and I met some of the others as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And but that was after the second time I was ill.
Yeah.
So
You had another surgery?
no, not surgery, but so the brain cancer came back in 2017.
Okay.
And when it came back with a vengeance. So
Mm.
I was told I had 3 to 6 months to live. I was thinking, oh my gosh.
So,
So yeah, it was
so
crazy.
what treatment they gave you this time? You were not taking any natural products at this time, were you, or you were totally on medication?
I was only on the anti-seizure medication. I didn't I didn't know nobody. I hadn't seen a nutritionist. I didn't have any other support because I didn't understand like any of the stuff that I know now. I didn't really have a clue about then. So it was when I got that second diagnosis that everything changed in my life, from my spiritual beliefs to like how I see the world now. I look at that time as probably like a huge learning curve, um, because I was so desperate to live that I was looking for something to hold on to, something that would change my outcome. And so I did a lot of research. Even when I couldn't think straight, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't, I'd fall over if I tried to stand up. I was that bad. Um, it was a very, very trying time.
Yeah. And for the second time, what treatment they gave you? Was it like,
They couldn't operate again. And I remember like I was going in and out of like consciousness, I guess. I remember lying on the bed in the hospital, and the neurosurgeon coming in, sitting on my bed, holding my hand and saying, "I'm really sorry, I can't do anything for you." And I was, like that upset me. I also have a memory of the oncologist coming in with her nurse, but these are like it feels dreamlike. Pardon me, sorry. Every time I share a burp. So um yeah, I can remember lying in the bed and them coming in and discussing something, but I couldn't tell you what they were talking about. And for me, how I remember it was very like you would a dream. So it was kind of like, I don't know, very
very hazy and blur and kind of
yes, yeah,
you can't make sense of it, but you have some glimpse that it is something that
yes,
very concerned.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that those are two memories that stand out for me, and some that I don't feel comfortable sharing. But yeah, it was like that, and I had to stay in hospital until my mom could come over. My whole family were coming over because they told me I was going to die, so they were all coming over to say goodbye, and it took a little while to coordinate that. So I think I spent about 2 weeks in hospital, or maybe two, maybe three, while they coordinated what they had to do because they were flying from the other side of the world, from your side of the world to Australia. Um, yeah.
So how did you overcome the second time? Like,
So I was looking for something. I looked at all the things that you can do for like physical healing. But during the process, I found other things. So I was looking at diet and supplements and, like things that I could do to heal cancer. And my ignorance was probably my friend. So I was, like I was so ignorant of different compounds and things that we could use in our bodies. But at the same time, I was looking at different kinds of like religions and spirituality. I think that's around the time I met you.
yeah, yeah.
And I was looking at how the world works. I mean, I was questioning everything. I wasn't just questioning how to heal the physical body, but I was actually questioning my existence, maybe. I was looking at different religions because I grew up Catholic, like my family is Catholic. So that was like a big stretch for me. But I think living in the UK kind of opened me up a little bit because I had some very strange experiences in the UK as well. So yeah,
You believed in the Orthodox Catholic way of
I
life.
did,
You did that work. Yeah. Okay.
I did, and but I had along the way in the UK before I even thought about coming over here. I'm talking like right in the beginning. I
Mhm.
was being questioned like from the beginning. My religion was being questioned and my belief system was being questioned even back then. I mean, when I was in my early 20s.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had some very strange experiences. Like there was I had one boyfriend whose mum used to do automatic writing. I was thinking like all this stuff we had been taught was like, like the devil's work or whatever. Um, and yeah, she used to do this stuff, and I'm going, she's making that up, like that's not real. She's making it up.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, all this, especially if you have not been exposed to any side of
No,
that kind of way of life or thinking or reading or information. It's very hard to believe.
exactly right. But the thing was, from the time I lived in Belize, I think my beliefs were being challenged, but not by people who weren't Catholic. I'm talking about, I remember when my grandmother died. Um, she died, and my youngest auntie at the time, was staying with us because she had been ill. My grandmother had been ill, like really, really ill. And she had stayed with us because we lived not far from the hospital. Um, but we had moved, and we moved to a place that was a lot further away from the hospital. And she had passed away at this point. And I went upstairs to my room, and I left my my youngest brother, who was only like about 5 at the time, and my youngest auntie, who had Down syndrome, down watching cartoons on the telly. So I went up to my room because I loved my grandmother. I loved her so much. And I have really fond memories of her. Um, and I just went up to my room because I was sad, and I went to lie down, and I had my back facing the door. I was facing the wall, and I felt somebody touch my side, and it frightened me like you wouldn't believe. I was like, oh my God. I didn't want to open my eyes. I was like, close my eyes, like really squinting. That was really, really strange. Um, yeah, some really weird stuff. I don't think I ever told anybody because I just thought they're gonna tell me I'm crazy.
Yeah, sometimes one does feel that, but then you could have told, and maybe you know, it would have eased your mind, or maybe not, can't say. Yeah. So then, what else did you take?
Experience.
Yeah.
So I went to when I so after that, I went to the UK, and in the UK, I had a friend who was interested in this stuff, and she challenged my beliefs as well. I mean, so I was kind of open to it, but I didn't have an opinion as much maybe on it at that point. I was curious, and she wanted to go to a spiritualist church, and she wanted me to go with her. I'd never heard of it before. I didn't have a clue, but I had that I had previously had the experience with my boyfriend's mom, who did automatic writing. So I was getting there. I was kind of like, open to things, but not too open because I was always taught that they were bad, like all that stuff was bad. Um, Ended up going with her to this church, and I got picked on. I was like the first person that they called on, and he was telling me all this stuff, and he was going, so I have a message for you, and he points at me, and I'm like, huh, what do I do with this? So he kept saying all these things, but I kept going, nope, 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 nope. But I was really closed down to it because I didn't really I can't even remember what he told me now. So that was my another experience I had with it. And then after that, I think the next time was when, and this was really strange. When I came before I came out here, I had I had lost, I had an ectopic pregnancy and I wanted to see a psychic. I wanted to know why it had happened to me. So ended up going to a fun day that for my husband's like work, and it was one where all the families were. They did it for all the families, and my son was 4 months old, I think. So they had all kinds of stuff there. I mean, they put on such a really, really good like day. And they had these different tents, so you could have whatever food you wanted, different activities, but they had a psychic tent.
Wow. Yeah, that was something. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that was very unusual. So I said, I'm going to go get a reading done. So I went in and I just sat down. I don't know, I sat down with one person there. She said, I need to see your non-dominant hand. So I gave her my left hand. And she looked at my palm, and the things that she told me were mind blowing. I just, she looked at my hand and she actually said, I mean, some of it I don't remember now, but the things that stayed with me were, um, okay, she looked at my lifeline and she goes, she could see that I was going to have a period of illness. And I found that really amazing because I did. But she said, it's okay, you'll recover from it. She also said, you're going to move to a country starting with the letter A. She said to me, and I'm going, I don't know. She goes, I don't know. I think she told me Australia, and I went, nope. And she told me some other countries, like she was trying to figure out what it was. And I was going, nope, nope. Like I was very, very, very like shutting her down.
Yeah.
Um, and she also told me about, um, yeah, that period of illness. She told me something else as well. I'm trying to remember now. But a lot of the things that she told me came to pass because I moved to Australia in 2012 and I did have this serious illness, but I've recovered from it due to sheer stubbornness.
Yeah. But
And
that's amazing that you have come so far. And I remember you were a lot into nutrition, to, taking care of your health and
yeah,
recovering. And you had a lot of, movement issues with your,
yeah, I still do. I still have some issues with movement. The second time round, what happened was actually was my balance. It affected my balance. So I would fall a lot. And it was like 2 weeks after I kept falling all over the house that I actually thought, I better tell somebody about this. I was supposed to go to an appointment with my neurosurgeon the second time round. And I'd reached that, was it 12 or 18, 12 months mark, 12-month mark? I forget now. And I had to say, I said, look, I can't come because I couldn't even figure out how to get dressed. I could not even figure out how to put my clothes on, how to simple things, and I was beside myself. I thought, this is bad. So I couldn't go to the appointment. I rung up and I said, I'm sorry, I can't make it. So that's how my neurosurgeon knew that I was ill again and why he came to visit me. Mark, my husband Mark, he came back. He just like left work, came back and took me to the hospital, and that was it. And they honestly believed that I wasn't going to come out again. Um, that was a tough time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so what did you? I remember you were talking about juicing that nurtured you back. You took up some programs in health, and you're a health coach now, and
Yeah,
doing an advanced program in naturopathy to become a full-fledged naturopath too. and people can consult you as a health coach as well.
Yes. Um, I looked at nutrition, and that was probably one of the things that a good thing that came out of when I was sick, because I had no idea how powerful food is, and I came across things like turmeric, like that is so anti-inflammatory, and I needed things like that. But the other side of it was that a lot of the things that I was doing, like juicing and all the nutrition that I was putting in my body, every time I used to say to my oncologist, oh, by the way, I'm taking this supplement or that supplement. But when I said turmeric, she goes, oh, you shouldn't be taking that. And what it was that turmeric interferes with chemotherapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was so far down the path of nutrition that I just didn't care. I kept doing it, even though I was doing chemotherapy. And I don't know to this day whether it was the nutrition or the chemotherapy that actually healed me.
So, but for how
Um,
long did you take, you were on chemotherapy for for,
the first time round, I stopped it prematurely. Like they wanted me to do 6 months of chemotherapy, and I think I stopped about after 4 months because they said it's just a precaution. But when they did the surgery, they found all these like veins and stuff that it had its own like vascular support system, this tumor that I had. It had been there so long. Um, and I don't know, maybe like I said before, my ignorance probably was my friend back then. I didn't believe that taking like doing the things that I was doing, like all the supplements I was having, I didn't believe that they would harm me. So I was looking at turmeric. I was looking at all the anti-inflammatories. Uh,
what do you
that's
want
my
me?
dog.
I can pause it.
Yes, please. Just so I can. I
Yeah,
think I'm
yeah,
gonna get my son out. Sorry about that.
yeah. So I was wanting to know about what were the natural products you took. I remember you shared a lot about juicing, and I also know that lemon helps in overcoming cancer a lot. Many people have
Yeah.
shared this experience, early morning a glass of lemon juice and probably some beetroot and all.
So I did. So I used the lemon in like a hot drink. So
Mm.
I did like boiling water, and then I put lemon slices in it. Then I had that. That was like that. That's kind of like a detox. I also juiced, or I had somebody juice for me. Beetroot, carrots are another good anti-cancer one. I did kale because that has sulfur in it, and that's really good against cancer. Um, Spinach. Um, gotta think now. Beetroot, carrot, spinach, kale, ginger, and turmeric. Trying to remember if there's anything else I'm missing. That was, oh, and then I put in some like orange and apple as well, because that's like vitamin C. Um, so that boosts the immune system. I didn't know exactly how vitamin C affected the immune system, but I know now that it's good for the immune system. But I just did lots of research, and I looked at the first person I came across that had anything to do with cancer was Chris Wark, Wark, and he had like stage 3 colon cancer, and he actually had a website called Chris Beat Cancer, And he was the one I looked at first. So I thought, shoot, like people are starting to like heal from cancer, but they're doing it in their own way. So that kind of put the idea in my head to do more research. And I used to take resveratrol, which is like it's in the skin of like red grapes. There's resveratrol in that. So I used to get the supplement and I used to take resveratrol. Um, and also there were other things as well, that boosted your immune system. I did intermittent fasting and I still do it today. That helps with autophagy, which clears away all the stuff in your body that it doesn't need anymore, like the waste, some kinds of waste, um, but not the stuff that goes through your digestive system, and probably like more waste products in the blood, and it gives your body a chance to digest food as well. So we tend to, as a society these days, we tend to eat and then don't give our bodies enough time to digest, and then we're eating again. So it was a case of learning a lot of stuff about nutrition and digestion and how the body works.
So, how long did you continue with this natural therapy that you did for yourself? And before you realized that you were cancer free, actually, of course, it takes a while for them to come and say that, okay, so many 5 years have gone by. But not about that, but generally, medically, how it was all clear. How long did you take this
The
natural?
second time round,
Hmm.
so the first time round I had radiotherapy and I had chemotherapy. And I mean, I had the full 6 weeks, I think it was, of radiotherapy. That was brutal. But the second time round, all I had available to me was chemotherapy, and I didn't even realize. The first time round, I was on about two or three different types of chemotherapy. The second time round, I only had one option available to me because I didn't realize that the body actually learns how to deal with it. And so they can't give you the ones that they gave you before. So I ended up on a different one. And I was also doing my own thing at that point because I was learning all this stuff. And I can't remember your question. Say that again.
Yeah, how long when you started taking the natural juices and natural products, and you started with intermittent fasting to self-heal, how long did you continue that process for, I mean, I know that you did it religiously, without fail, and you were also
Yeah.
yeah.
So I had at that time, I had um, a lot of help to do it. So I was getting people coming in to do the juicing for me, and I did it right up to 2018 and maybe even beyond that, because I had support workers at that point. Um, so they were coming in and they were helping me to juice. But I knew that I have to I even have them now. I'm not really, they won't let me out of doing MRIs yet. So normally they give you like they say, okay, if you can go 5 years cancer free, then you're healed, right? You're healthy.
Yeah.
They only measure to about 5 years, but I think with brain cancer it must be different because it's been, well, 2018 was when I was clear, and I started off the second time around where they were doing an MRI 1 month after 1 month, after 2 months, after 3 months, after 6 months, or 4 months and 6 months. I can't remember the actual sequence now, but then I went from like, so I have problems with my memory. So I had, now I do like every 6 months, but they had tried to put me out to a year, to 12 months. and I forgot about it. I'd booked it, everything, and then I forgot about it. So they do monitor me, but I'm on like 6 monthly MRIs now.
All right, all right. Yeah, that's very nice to know. But then you're doing well. You're also doing your physio and other exercises. So how are you feeling now? Um,
I feel fine. And the thing is, from everything I've learned about like how the world works now, I realized that a lot of it is in my hands. A lot of I've came across so much information. Like there's a book by Robert Tennyson Stevenson or Stevens. I forget his name now. Robert Tennyson Stevens, I think his name is, called Conscious Language. And what we say, we manifest. So if you say something and you um, truly, truly believe it, that, like what you're saying, it comes to pass. I know this to be true because I've done it myself, unconsciously. Like I'm laughing here, but it's not funny. I never used to get ill, never ever used to get ill, right? And I would be at work religiously every day, had the odd cold, and that was it, right? And then I just remember going, I never get sick. I think when I get sick, I'm going to get really, really sick and it's going to kill me. I actually said this. Yeah, I know. So stupid. I know now, but like,
so what other things, self-healing? I remember you telling you did some Reiki also on yourself.
I,
And
I didn't personally do the Reiki, but I did go to somebody that did Reiki on me. That was another thing I was exploring as well, because I was thinking, we're surely, right, if we're as well, for me, I was thinking we were just like a physical body and a spiritual body, because I knew that the soul lived on when we passed on. So I looked at I guess, spiritual, energetic body. I thought I'll go and have some Reiki done. And I booked a session with somebody in another town, and I went and had it done. And that was my first experience with Reiki. But I'd been around, um, I don't know if that was like a little fair when I did my dolls, where they had, what's it called? Kinesiology,
yeah,
like a stand for kinesiology. So they had certain things that I was exposed to already before all of that happened. And I, yeah, so I went and had one session done with this person, this practitioner. And then she took a long time going through all of it. The session was a long session. So I must have had so much gunk, energetic gunk to clear. And then I went and I won another session a while after, and I went and did that one with another practitioner. But I was already firmly like of the mind that this world is so different to what we were taught, just based on different experiences I'd had.
so I know that you have provided a lot of information on your Facebook page, Healing Cancer. So
Yes,
maybe we will share that link. You can send me that link and I can share it if some people want to. You're also a health coach. So if they
yes.
have any question about overcoming, any of their health issues, maybe related to cancer, may not be related, if they can, are they able to ask you and talk to you about
Sure.
it?
I'll do what I can. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So now you're fully recovered actually, and so is there something that you want to encourage some people who are going through this pain and trauma of any health. It's not only about cancer, but it could be any health problem. And how do they maintain their balance, like, from being a healthy person, then going down, and that transition of pain and trauma, and then coming up, that is the time you really need to hold yourself and say that, reset your mind and say that I can do it, I will get better.
Well, see, I kind of look at from everything I've learned, I look at um, like those kinds of things are I think of like pre-birth and how we plan out our lives. I mean, this is all stuff I kind of learned along the way, where we have soul groups, and I'm going into some serious spiritual stuff here, and how we plan our existence on this planet. And this is like Earth school, so it's not. I think how I looked at my experience was it was a learning journey, even though it was very difficult at the time. I don't, I think it had to happen. It was something that was preordained, and I needed to experience that to progress, to ascend, or I don't know what you call it, in my spiritual journey. I don't think that it was difficult. It was certainly a challenge, but I learned so much from it. And for the things I've learned from it, I'm really grateful. For the people that I met along the way, I am really grateful. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning stuff right now. And I'm grateful. I think what happened was it was a catalyst for me for like more from like learning more about spirituality and energetics, and I don't know, maybe even like religions and tolerance, um and not seeing the world in black and white, that we are all connected. And yeah, my point of view is just so out there now compared to where I started.
Yeah, a religion kind of provides you a basic sense of discipline in life. And then as you learn and as you progress, you realize life is actually far beyond religion. This has been my experience. And
Yes,
ultimately, you come to a place which is more like humanist and spiritual. And
yes,
like you said, interconnectedness of life and the influence of your own minds, how you create your own thoughts, and you organize your
reality.
own cells in the body, with your thoughts, and manifest
Yes,
the way you desire. And probably that's
yeah,
what helped
exactly.
you.
Yeah, definitely. I have learned, and I probably sound to people who aren't at the same in the same place that I am, I probably sound bonkers, you know what I mean? But I think you would have to have gone through what I went through. You would have had to have been exposed to the things that I was exposed to along the way to be in the same place I am. Everybody has their own journey, and I respect that. And I've had to, I don't know, be conscious of that in some circumstances as well, because people look at you differently. You know, when you say something that they have no concept of, you sound crazy
Yeah.
to them. Yeah. So I've learned a lot about tolerance and compassion. And, I mean, I think this happened to me for a reason. Maybe I was to learn these lessons along the way. I'm very philosophical about all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I really appreciate your sharing so much. It must have, I hope it did not trigger any emotions, but cleared most of that impact. So
Oh no, I'm good. I think now I'm just tend to, I mean, it happened, I can't change it. It was traumatic, sure. But I think I've come to terms with it and I look at it more as it was a learning journey more than a um, bad thing that happened to me. I got something from it. I
yeah,
feel like it was a learning point or in my physical existence for my spiritual ascension, or
yes,
if you like.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Spiritual ascension, and then, in a larger way, in a broader way, we can say that it was also meant to share healing processes with people and help them out with their own thing, whatever that is, clearing their own gunk, whatever that is there, like it
Yeah.
can manifest as a disease, it can manifest in any other way as well, but then that needs to be cleared, can be through your own spiritualism. Natural products are also spiritual, because life is there in everything. You're using that product to heal yourself. And
Yes, everything is energy, isn't it? That's something else I learned as well. I mean, I remember seeing a video of a Buddhist monastery. I mean, this was something else. I mean, I was being exposed to all this stuff, and there was I think it might have been Greg Braden that was looking at. He did this video, and he was talking about how all of the earth is just energy, just vibrating at different speeds. And what we perceive as solid is just something that's vibrating at a different speed to the chair or our bodies or just everything around us. And I found that really fascinating because when we have emotional turmoil, sometimes we don't deal with it. It gets stored in our bodies, and it it um it manifests as illness and disease. So he was talking about this Buddhist monastery, and he was saying if everything is vibration, like they seem to have this higher understanding of, and I'm getting excited about this, they have this higher understanding of how this world works. And he said one of the Buddhist I don't know if it's a master or a teacher, I don't know what term the correct term is. I was trying to show the acolytes. I'm not sure what you call them. The the ones that go there to learn. And he put his fist through this stone wall
wow,
and made a hole in it. He put his he just wanted to show them how this world isn't real. And he put his fist through this massive solid stone panel, not panel, but a stone block that built up part of this wall. And there was a hole there. But he must have been so high, like in such a such a high vibration and belief. His faith must have been amazing that
yeah,
he knew that he could do that. You know, he must have been a master.
yeah. In the Silva method also, there are similar processes. One of them is like levitation, and they do. I
Really?
studied something, and I haven't really practiced it in my life, but then I learned a
Yeah.
lot from it for my
Yeah.
own work. They
Hmm.
have some similar, but it's a good program. And of course, it's the basic program for all types of meditations and all. You can adapt it to your needs. That is there.
Yeah. Some of the things that that I also learned is that water has a very high capacity to absorb emotions, and basically it's so like not malleable because it's water, isn't it? But it has the vibrational capacity of being changed or into anything you wanted. So you could use water as medicine by just that was another experiment as well.
Yeah,
I think that one was
Emoto, one yeah, scientist from Japan had done some research
yeah,
and shown the molecule.
oh, what's his name again?
Emoto, some
Emoto, that's it,
yeah.
yeah. So I
So
put that one on my Facebook page as well because I was learning all this stuff and I was thinking, wow, people don't realize. I mean, our bodies are what, 80% water or maybe even more.
yeah,
And every time we say something like, oh, for like goodness sake, that bloody thing, like something like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
all those things are actually causing our bodies to absorb that vibration. And that's where I was going back to that book called Conscious Language, and I keep fiddling with my phone so
Yeah,
badly.
definitely send me the information about that book. I will share it in the description below the video, both about your the Facebook
I'm
page
gonna have to write this down right
and
now.
the name of the books you want to share. And
Yeah, sure. Let me I'm just gonna put in my phone so I don't forget. Yeah, I learned a lot. Yeah, so I came across that book and then I came across all of Dr. Joe Dispenza's stuff as well because
amazing. Yeah, all these people, Masuro Emoto and Greg Braden,
yeah,
Dispenza have given so much of information. And of course, other philosophies, ancient philosophies have a lot to share, and I'm also learning a lot from ancient philosophies from India. That's it's not religion, but it is Sanatan Dharma. The what it has got to share is phenomenal. So
absolutely. I mean, they say that if you're going to go back to Christianity, they say that Jesus actually a there's a place in the Bible where you don't that Jesus is missing from it for like years, and then all of a sudden he is an adult and he appears in the Bible again. And they reckon that he went to India and did a lot of training
yeah,
there.
yeah, he did a lot of training there. There are instances which have been mentioned here and there. Um,
Yeah.
when they say that when life was starting on planet Earth, there were these beings on Earth who have written these scriptures and the Vedas and the Shastras. Their origin is from there, and it is not a form of any religion. And then the Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
when it was written, it was still there was no religion as such. It was a way of life and the way to live your life. So
Yeah.
practice that. It's only at this age, I'm realizing I'm learning all this. So
I
it's,
know, right?
yeah, yeah,
I think I'm fascinated by all of it. I, I think I just think I'm going to be learning till the day like I'm very, very old and, um,
yeah, that's what we are here for.
yeah,
Learn
I
and
think,
grow.
but yeah, I started like finding out all this information and I was reading a lot and, from, I don't know, I think I came across, I did, what was it called? Love and Above,
Yeah,
or
Christy
something
Mary
like that
Sheldon's
from Christy Marie Sheldon. She was
beautiful. Yeah,
one of the first ones. And then I thought, okay, so she shows you in that one. She talks about Dr. Emoto as well in that one. But she shows you how different vibrations affect you, and how that might have been, that was probably one of my starting points, that course. And then I did her other one, Unlimited Abundance. And I think that's when I met all of you. Like I met you and oh gosh, everybody else.
Everybody got together. I think that was a point of connection, predestined maybe. Again,
I think
it
so
was
too.
surprising how we got connected and stayed connected and learned about it.
Yeah.
It's,
So then, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, sorry. I just said I'm very grateful that we all met and we stayed connected and learned so much from each other, different things,
I think so too. I think that we all had something to contribute as well. So like, yeah, I mean, some of us were already on the path, and like knew things that others didn't. Like I was so ignorant to a lot of this stuff, and I think I learned a lot from our group.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fascinating stuff, I think.
Yeah, thank you. I think we have spent more than an hour now. And
Sorry.
love to talk to you sometimes again about your progress and more work which you are doing, as a naturopath. And definitely share the information that about your Facebook page and the books. And
Yeah,
anything
sure.
else, I will add it to the description box. Yeah,
Yep, I can do that.
yeah,
I can
thank
do that.
you. So thank you everyone for watching. And if you have liked the video, please do like and subscribe to our channel, Conversations 3X. And hope to see you again for another conversations. And we are starting with another set of conversations on humanistic spiritualism, something that connects us all together. Till next time, have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.